So, I participated in the Remote YCS this past weekend, and I used my X-Saber TriBrigade deck. And on Pojo, Discord, and Facebook, a lot of you guys are really wanting the deck profile. Now, I want you guys to know, I did not do well. I did quite poorly, in fact. I finished the day with an X5 record of 8 rounds. And then the next day, I participated in one of the Winnamats. Of the 3 rounds, I won the first round, and then in the second round, I got knocked out. It was pretty bad. So round 1, I faced a Sky Striker Scrap Orcust deck, which was pretty interesting because we played all 3 games out, and each game I saw a different engine. It was game 1 I saw very much the Orcust side, and then game 2 I saw the Sky Striker side. Game 3 I saw the Scrap side of it. And I didn't really play a lot in 2019, so I don't know a lot about how the Eternal Format Striker Orcust deck worked, but I'm assuming it was basically that now that Engage is back to 1. Game 1, there were definitely a couple of misplays on my part that I didn't catch. I also learned that I learned one of the new rulings on Dark Soul. I knew that there was the ruling on Dark Soul that made it a soft once per turn. I was unaware of the fact that Dark Soul had to resolve in the graveyard during the end phase. My understanding of Dark Soul up until this point was that it activated the moment it hit the grave, and then it didn't matter where it resolved. Not knowing that actually caused me that first game. The second game, I built up, the normal board of Appaloosa with a set Revolt. I was able to get all the pieces needed to do the classic Godum's Hand Rip for turn 3. And then game 2, my Dark Soul got called by the grave, and I just couldn't come back from that. He also ashed some of my TriBrigade cards, so round 2, I faced against a pure Code Talker deck. Game 1, I pulled a God Hand. He didn't have any hand traps, and I was able to rip his entire hand with Godums and then end on an Appaloosa, and he just couldn't come back from that. I opened, one of those fantastic hands where you're like, what? Game 2, he flipped up a Rivalry, and that just stopped me. After 3 turns of trying to draw into a Cosmic Cyclone or a Harpy's Feather Duster, some way to out the Rivalry, he ended up OTKing me with Axis Code Talker. So I just scooped knowing what was coming. Game 3, definitely lost due to a misplay on my part. I sent Kit to the grave, and I should have added a Karis to my hand instead of a Fractal, and then I just couldn't continue any plays, and he OTK'd me with Access Code. Round 3, I faced off against Drytron Player. That was a 2-0. That was a quick 2-0. It took about maybe 10 minutes in total. I won the dice roll. I was able to set up a board that he just couldn't get around. I had Access Code Talker with a Revolt, and I had all the pieces necessary to do the Godum's Hand Rip, turn 3. And then I felt really bad because game 2 after siding, I opened up with an Access Code Talker and a Drollin Lockbird, and I just showed it to him, and he scooped. I still feel really bad. Steven, if you're out there, you were my opponent. I still feel very, very bad for having done that to you. Round 4, I faced against a Virtual World player. He ended up 2-0ing me, but it took the full 50 minutes. He declared battle phase. He said, enter battle phase, and then boom, time was called. And so he hit me. That was an intense match. That was a really, really good match. I will admit I was a little bit salty for having lost that, but looking back to it, I can admit that match was fantastic. It was a grind game. It was just a constant back and forth. He really fought for them, and I really respect that player. That was a fantastic match. Round 5, I faced against Sky Striker. I beat it 2-1. Just being able to get out Appaloosa to just constantly negate Ray worked in my favor. Also, being able to search DD Crow with Shurig to get rid of the Engage and to get rid of the Shark Cannon the moment it hits the grave. It really was worth it. And main decking Naturia Beast is fantastic. Game 2, they were able to just out-resource me, and I ended up just having to scoop. And then game 3, I opened up with Anti-Spell Fragrance, so what I did was I just summoned the Simorgh Link, brought out Naturia Beast for extra measure, special summoned Dark Simorgh off of the Simorgh Link, and then during their standby phase, I activated Anti-Spell Fragrance. So I was like, you're not doing anything today. And they just scooped from there. Round 6 was against some kind of Ursarctic deck. That deck was intense. The Ursarctic level 7 Synchro is scary. It's a scary card to face against, since almost my entire extra deck is without levels, so all of their effects would have been negated. I was trying to figure out a way to get out Gotems, but I just couldn't. But I was able to beat them 2-1. I was really proud of this. Game 3, it was the final game in the round. They had the level 7 Ursarctic that negates all monsters without levels, a Borreload Savage with 3 counters on it because he used Auroradon, and oh my gosh, that was insane. And the Ursarctic Field Spell with a Saravis, that Ritual Dragon that protects your monsters being targeted by effects. So what I did with that, I start the turn off activating Forbidden Chalice on the Borreload Savage Dragon. And he activates Saravis, so I chain with Called by the Grave. That's all done. I special summon Alpha Master Beasts. Alpha's effect, target itself and bounce back, and then bounce back the Ursarctic card. Can't do anything about that. Then I special summon, bring out Ancient Dragon Lords, bounce the Borreload Savage. I end up on a board of Apollousa with the set Revolt, and I'm able to get the beginnings for the Gotem's Hand Rip combo, and once he opens up his draw and sees what he's got, he just scoops right there. It was, oh my gosh, it was like 500 IQ play that I was doing. I was really proud of that turn of events to just, chain and all that stuff. It was one of those matches where I knew that I was getting better as a player due to the way that I played that out. So I felt really proud of that. Round 7, lost to Drytron 1-2. That's also when I learned that Natasha special summons itself from the grave. Don't know why I didn't know that before. That 100% cost me the game. And then round 8, I faced against a pure TriBrigade. I beat them round 1, and then I beat them game 1, and then game 2 and game 3, they got the full combo off on me, and I just couldn't play through it. And game 3, they had the hand traps. They had Ghost and Ash and Called by the Grave in their opening hand, and then they had a Tenki. And so I just scooped right there the moment I saw them drop the Tenki and they had stopped everything I had done. I was like, yeah, you got this, man. And then for the Winamat, round 1, I faced against a Drytron player. I was able to beat them 2-1. Just being able to go into Apollousa and then pressure them with the knowledge that the Gotem's Hand Rip is coming my next turn. It's powerful. I'll probably show you guys that combo if this video gets enough like. Not probably. I will show you a video of the combos with this deck if this video gets enough likes. Game 2, I faced against TriBrigade Leerlusk, and they ended up beating me out 2-0. Let's hop right into this deck profile. You can never go wrong with Mate. So the main deck is 42 cards, extra deck is 15, side deck is 15. So let's go, we'll start right with the main deck. So how I've got this separated is with the different archetypes and the combo pieces. So for X-Sabers, we've got 3 X-Saber Airbellum and 2 X-Saber Dark Soul. Now, if you've been following me for the past year on this channel, you know that I've really been messing around with the ratios with the level 3 X-Sabers. And honestly, after today, even though I did not do well, I feel very comfortable with this ratio of cards. Just for the fact that X-Saber Airbellum, his direct attack to rip a card out of your opponent's hand came up almost every round. There was a game where I attacked and then ripped the last card out of hand, which resulted in my opponent scooping. And then Dark Soul, having 2 Dark Soul is definitely enough. I would not want a third. And Dark Soul being able to be special summoned off of Revolt to get searches on your opponent's end phase is fantastic. Just remember that ruling that Dark Soul needs to be in the grave to be able to get its effect trigger off. For the 1-ofs for the X-Sabers, I run 1 Boggart Knight and 1 Ragigura. For the last X-Sabers, I run 3 Fall Troll. For the X-Sabers, I run 2 Fall Troll, 2 Kit, 2 Karis, 2 Nerval, a Revolt, and a Rendezvous. I'm gonna be honest, this is the ratio that I really like. I know a lot of people do 3-3-3-2. With the way that the X-Saber engine uses the TriBrigade cards, I would want to run a 3rd Karis, with just the way that this deck is played. If not a 3rd Karis, then a 3rd Nerval as well would be a really, really good option for me. Because Nerval would allow more opportunities to be able to go into the Simorg link, but Karis, you're always going to be able to bring a body on board, which is something that is very, very appreciative in the X-Saber build, which is more from a normal summon heavy era of Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 Revolt and 1 Rendezvous was perfect in my opinion. They're both searchable. Rendezvous is a card that nobody ever really expects, and so I'm really, really glad that I had it in the deck. I was able to attack over some monsters because of Rendezvous's attack boost that it gives to your linked monsters, so that was really, really nice. Next up, we got a Zoo engine. It's just 1 Rapier, 1 Thoroughblade, and 1 Zodiac Barrage. Just being able to have a 1-card Zeus that will put more materials in for your TriBrigade cards is amazing. It's the fact that you're only using 3 cards, in my opinion, made it worth it. And if you knew you weren't going second, it's 3 cards that you know to side out. It worked really well because I was always able to know, okay, I know which 3 cards to side out if I'm going first. Because you have this for a going second option to blow up your opponent's board, which came up quite a few times. Just the fact that I was able to bring out a Zeus, blow up the board, and then start my plays really, really helped out so many times. I run triple Rescue Cat and triple Fire Formation Tenki just for that consistency. And for hand traps in the main deck, I ran triple Ash Blossom and 1 DD Crow. I know that these aren't the best hand traps that I could have run, but I had no idea what I might be facing going into the event, so that's why I stuck with Ash. Ash can hit everything, whereas all the other hand traps can hit most things. So I figured if I was going to be playing Rogue, like Ursarctic, then Ash Blossom would be able to stop it, and it can hinder enough. It can hinder TriBrigade on what you're going to do is the moment Kit hits the grave, that's when you're going to Ash Blossom them, or Nerval, because you know it's usually Kit that you're going to stop them mid-combo because they're hoping to get Karis to their hand, and with only 2 in grave, the best that they're going to be able to bring out usually is an Ancient Warrior, which you can get around very easily. And DD Crow, it's searchable off of Shurig, and it stops so many decks, such as Drytron, when they tribute to special summon, stuff like that. You can just banish what they're trying to special summon from the grave after they've tributed, so that's really nice. DD Crow, you can also banish the Engage with Sky Striker, you can banish the Drytron Rituals. There's so many things. I would even think about running more than just 1 DD Crow. If not, I would have thought of siding to 2 more DD Crow. It did help quite a bit. There was a game, round 7 against that Drytron player, that DD Crow would have won me the match if I played it at the right time, but that was 100% a misplay on my part, and that player knows that it was a misplay on my part as well. I could tell that he was Like, he felt sad for me when I realized what I had done. And for disruptions, I run triple Cosmic Cyclone, and for the powerful one-ofs, Called by the Grave, 1-for-1, Monster Reborn, Harpy's Feather Duster, and Imperial Order, I would say I would probably take out Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn did not help me nearly as much as I expected it to. Imperial Order was an MVP. I would say that about half of the duels that I won today, not matches, but half of the duels that I won because I flipped up Imperial Order, and they couldn't do anything about that, so I'm really happy about that. I love Mate. So let's hop into the extra deck. We run our X-Saber MVP, double X-Saber Gothams, who is also a Beast Warrior. So if you have him on field and you've got a Tenki on field, do not forget he's going to be a 3200 attacker. This dude is huge. He can get over so many things in the meta right now just because he's 3100 attack instead of 3000 attack, which came up more than I actually expected. And the fact that he's a Beast Warrior, you can bring him back for Revolt, you can use him to go into all the TriBrigade links, so that's really nice. I brought him out about half of the matches that I was in, whether it was to attack over something, to link up into something, or to be able to pull off the Gothams Hand Rip, which I actually got off more than I expected. For the TriBrigade links, I run 1 Ferjit, 1 Bearbum, 1 Rugal, and 2 Shurig, which is... it's the norm, unless you're doing a pure TriBrigade build. Any TriBrigade variant, this is the ratio that you're going to be playing with it. The 1-1-1-2. And Bearboom is fantastic. Shurig is such an amazing card, and something that people usually were unaware of is the fact that Shurig can search. And usually when you're bringing out Shurig, you can search either DD Crow or Rescue Cat, which is a combo that should pique your interest to make you share and like this video so that it gets enough likes. Let's say 25 likes. I want a minimum of 25 likes, and I will show you the beautiful combo that I have that would guarantee me a win. For the Zodiac, of course, Chakanine, Tiger Mortar, Borbo, and then Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus. Hot take right here, this is something that a friend of mine and I have also been discussing. Zodiac Trident was not the issue. It did make some of the combos slightly less consistent, but Zodiac Trident was not the issue. Zodiac Borbo is the issue. The fact that Borbo can attack directly, no matter what your opponent's board is, bring out Zeus and then blow up your entire opponent's field, Borbo is the issue. Borbo is 100% the issue. I would not be running this if Borbo was banned. The TriBrigade targets, I've got Hresvelgr, which is how you pronounce it. Frickin' love that Norse name. Hresvelgr, the Desperate Doom Eagle, and Ancient Warrior's Oath, Double Dragon Lords. I was able to sneak a win thanks to Double Dragon Lords, and also I brought out Hresvelgr against a Drytron player to shuffle some of the cards back into his deck. It was the first time that I was using this card, and I'm really happy that it worked out the way that I'd always heard people use it. Next up, one Almirage, just for the consistency. If you've got a Kit or a Nerval in hand, you normal summon it to bring out Almirage, and then you've got your plays going. And then next, Appaloosa and Naturia Beast. They're my big blowout cards. I drop them on the opponent. Depending on what you're playing, your opponent's just usually going to scoop to be able to go through a minimum, burn through 3 negates, or Naturia Beast, which just cuts off spells, and then depending on what you mill, if you're milling a TriBrigade card, you activate the TriBrigade card's effect. Love it. For the side deck, I run triple Cycle Reader for the Drytron matchup. I also run 2 Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion is a good card. There wasn't a single time where I wanted to see it in my hand, though. And I also run 4 monsters I run Alpha, the Master of Beasts. This was something that a friend of mine at my locals that I go to was able to convince me to put in my deck, and I got at least 2 wins today because I had this in my side deck. This card is amazing. Shout out to you, Zach. Thank you so much for convincing me to put this in the side. If I was running Melfies with the TriBrigade or Melfies with the X-Sabers, which is something I could try out later, I would run this in the main. 2 Forbidden Chalice, because I do not have the money to afford Forbidden Droplets. In preparation for the Sky Strikers or anything else, I ran 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance, 1 Dark Simorgh, and Simorgh Bird of Sovereignty. I'm honestly pretty happy with this. I give my win against that Sky Striker player, the credit goes to these 4 cards right here, and I'm really happy with it. And then the last 2, I run a Red Reboot and a Naturia Barkion. I didn't know how many trap-based decks I would be going up against. It can stop TriBrigade Revolt, so I'd side them in for the mirror match. So yeah, that's the deck. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you didn't like what you see, don't leave a dislike, but comment something angrily to help the algorithm for me. I would appreciate that very much. And if this gets to a minimum of 25 likes, then next week I'll bring out a whole combo video. Then I will show you all the combos that I can do with this deck and how I really appreciate how X-Sabers mesh with TriBrigade so well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to everybody you know that played Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2010 and are really excited to see that somebody's doing something with TriBrigades 10 years later. Because remember, we're always trying to find those old decks, and we're trying to make them competitive. Alright, so I'll see you around. Thanks for watching.